All right, guys, next step is we are gonna get this thing looking a lot better. So I haven't washed the outside of the car. My preference, just my preference, get the interior clean. I've degreased the engine bay, but right now, you know, especially with winter coming around the corner, I don't wanna be doing a lot of this stuff when it's cold out, when it's freezing out. And so I am actually gonna be using my favorite iron remover, which yes, it's a wheel cleaner, but I really like this stuff because even though it's a wheel cleaner, it will be able to decontaminate the paint before I clay bar it. But what I like about this is it's like a gel and it sticks really well to the paint. But for this car, there's just, the paint needs a lot of love. And so this is something that pulled the car into the garage. You don't want to do this out in the sunlight. But I'm just gonna spray the car down, decontaminate it really well just before I wash it. And then I'm gonna get these wheels clean. I'm not sure if those break, if those wheels have ever really seen any type of wheel cleaner. So anyways, I'm gonna get started with this and kind of start my refinement process on the paint. You can see here in some of the spots where like I had like rock chips where it's kind of like rusting, like it's pulling quite a bit out of that. So when this turns purple, that's how you know it's dissolving a lot of the industrial fallout. Now this can be from a number of things. It can be from brakes, it can be from just metal, shavings of metal from when you brake, just driving around on the car. You can do glass on this too, which actually is nice because then you can apply, the clay bar to the windows and actually get your windows looking just as good as your paint in terms of just protection and beading and just make it easier to clean. But this is my favorite iron decontaminant remover. Others that I've used, they stink worse than this. They kind of have that rotten egg smell. This one doesn't smell that bad. But I just like how this just sticks really well onto the paint. You definitely don't want to do this outside. Some of you could argue you probably should have washed the car before you did this. I really don't care because this paint, there's areas that I'm just going to need to repaint and work on. But at the end of the day, I have all these like little rock chips where there's rust, and I wanted to see what this would do in terms of just pulling a lot of stuff out of it. But I can tell this paint is pretty trashed and it's never had any type of a paint correction or anything like that. So anyways, just gonna finish up doing the car. You're gonna let this sit. I don't know, just don't want it to dry on the paint. Don't let it dry. I've used this on several cars. I've never had an issue with the paint, but obviously, sorry, I had to switch hands. Use this at your own discretion. I haven't had any issues with it. There's obviously products that are specifically just to be iron removers, but this is my favorite product to use. So guys, take a look at this. I mean, I've never done an iron decon on a car that has literally had this much fallout on it. It is insane. Now granted, those are spots that's down to their bare metal. But man, you're gonna notice this a lot more on a silver car, on a white car. And what I didn't probably do a good job of explaining, the reason why you do this is anytime you dry your car, anytime you wash your car, the reason I'm doing this is it helps just make the paint smooth. When you go to polish a car, when you go to paint, protect a car, you really have to remove all the contaminants out of the paint. Some of them it's embedded in the paint, some of it's more surface level. This removes a lot more surface level. But the reason you want to do this is you do not want to be polishing a car that you haven't really taken all the contaminants off, because then all you're doing is just taking those metal shavings and just embedding it deeper into the paint, scratching it, getting down to metal, and it's not ideal. So sorry if I didn't do a good job of explaining that, but that is the reason why we do that. But man, this thing is crazy. And on white cars, you're not gonna see it as much on silver cars. White cars, it kind of looks like that orange kind of speck. this will remove that right off of there, unless it's down to bare metal and some of the rock chips that you have. But this might be the gnarliest in terms of just decontaminating the paint that I have seen, which tells me this car has never been really professionally had a paint correction or anything like that. And that's okay, but I can tell you that this is going to clean up really well. And man, just look at that. Would you look at it? Would you look at it? So I have this out in the sun, part of it. I need to hurry up and get my pressure washer going so I can rinse this off. But man, look how much this is just pulled off of the car already. It's insane. All right, guys, this looks so much better. Let me show you guys like this bad spot back here that was like, looked like it was all rusted. And honestly, look how much better that looks. It's so much lighter when you get it like in the right light. It's hard to tell, but it's just already so much lighter. So it pulled a lot of the iron, just different deposits up on the paint. So next up, I'm gonna share with you guys my favorite wheel and tire cleaner, and you guys have probably seen this before. However, I'm also going to use it on the paint. Areas like down there where we got just some different tar, different stuff on there. I'm always looking for products that don't make me need to do a lot of work, but you can see there, just kind of some black specks, some tar, some different stuff, some road grime. But this stuff, I'm not even gonna agitate the wheels, and I'm gonna use it 1-to-1. It's Adams Wheel and Tire Cleaner. I've used this on my engine bay. It is probably one of my favorite products to use. And I'm gonna go ahead and just start spraying this on the car and watch how much stuff it'll pull off of the wheels, tires. Now I did use the Meguiar's on here just to get rid of some of the iron, but you can still see there's still a lot on these. So just gonna go ahead and apply it. This is a 1-to-1. Obviously this is full strength. Many could argue you don't need to do this, but where this car hasn't had it, or really a lot of maintenance in terms of just care and wash. Yeah, I'm going 1-to-1, and that's my preference, but you could get away with going a lot less on some of this. So just watch what this will do to the tire and everything. And I'm actually gonna go inside the wheel wells as well. These were pretty nasty and dirty, and I'm gonna let this sit for a little bit. Obviously, be careful when using this on paint, especially at the dilution ratio that I have. Wear a mask, wear gloves, all the things I'm not doing. And even just looking at these wheels, I can tell that some of this stuff is so caked on there that I'm not gonna get away without scrubbing these. But, you know, little by little, I'm not gonna try and make it perfect right now, but I'm just trying to get it a lot more presentable, and we'll tackle a lot of these other things as we go. And Meguiar's, honestly, for your wheels, it does a good job. I mean, these have already had a hit of that, so we'll see if it pulls off a whole lot more. But that Meguiar's product I really do like. I'm not overly big on some of the big manufacturers, the name brands that everybody else has used for years and years and years. I kind of like A lot of the products are a little bit more specialized, but it actually is a good wheel cleaner as well. So they've already had a douse of that. So I might not get a whole lot more off of here, but if I had to use a different wheel cleaner, it's probably what I'd use. This has got like rocks or something on there. I don't know what that is. And I'm kind of under the gun because the car is wet. I do have it in shaded area except for the back. So I definitely don't want to let that sit out too long. But when it comes to pulling the browning off the tire, the brown that you're seeing there, that's just pulling all of the gunk off of the tire. And it's literally one of the best for that. So I'm just gonna do a light coat underneath here, just where there might be some road tar and different stuff. Once again, use at your own risk. And how you know your tires are clean is the more white the foam is. Switch hands. The more white the foam is, that's how you know you're closer to being done. When it's brown and it's yellow and you keep getting that, you gotta keep going. And honestly guys, the proper way to clean your wheels and tires, use a scrub brush. Unless you're using an acid wheel cleaner, that sometimes you really need no scrubbing. I like to use this because most of the time, I don't have to really do any scrubbing because it takes care of it. Right now, these wheels and tires aren't my priority in terms of just getting them absolutely perfect because at the end of the day, don't know what that is. At the end of the day, I'm gonna be switching out these wheels and tires, but I do wanna get them a lot more presentable. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this sit for a minute, then we'll come around with the pressure washer, but you can see how much it's pulling off of these wheels and tires. All right. We'll see if we can, let's see, where's some stuff at. All right, that's what the wheels look like. So that's just kind of rust inside of there, but for not even scrubbing or doing any agitation, I'd say it did really well. I'd go over these again. I will go over these again. However, I just wanted to get them more presentable. Obviously, in the barrel here, this is like super caked on. You can see it's not even pulling any off with my fingers. It needs a scrubbing. It needs like a scuff pad. It needs some heavy duty scrubbing. But at the end of the day, I think these turned out really well, especially for not doing anything with them. These haven't been washed in some time. So that's my favorite wheel and tire cleaner. I'm gonna go ahead and wash the car up. One thing I'm gonna do, guys, since I haven't washed this car I just did my iron decon on it. I still need to clay bar it, but one of the methods you can do when you are cleaning like a super dirty car is actually use an all-purpose cleaner on the paint to help lift off a lot of that dirt and grime before you put soap on there, because you don't want to scratch the car worse than what it already is. I'm not too worried about this paint, so I actually have some LA Totally Awesome, and I'm just going to lightly go around and let this stuff start working. It'll also help pull off some of the bugs and different stuff a little bit, because I don't have a bug cleaner. My bug cleaner's all out, but mainly what I'm doing this for is I want it to take off any crap or any leftover debris that is on the paint, so that way when I go to hand wash this, I'm just not spreading dirt and anything that could just mar up the paint even worse. So I'm gonna go ahead and just lightly go around the car on this, and then I will apply the soap to it. Now, what I've done before is Turtle Wax actually makes a really good product. It's really cheap. You can get it at Walmart, and it has different pH levels on it, or different pH powers. And normally when I buy a car, even if it's new, I'll use something stronger like that. So you definitely could use that soap and use like a stronger mixture with the soap versus doing an all-purpose kind of bath before you put any soap on the car. But what you'll find is this will just help make cleaning the car a lot easier. Some people, this is their first step when they go to clean cars, is doing that. And normally you should start from the roof and go down, but like I said, I'm doing a paint correction on this car, guys. I'm not overly worried, but if you're wondering the best method and where to start, it's actually the top of the car, because that is the least dirty, and you work your way down. Now you can do a 2-bucket wash method. You can do a 1. I just do a 1 right now. Newer cars, you know, I'm a lot more careful with, but where this is a car, I'm going to be paint correcting, polishing, using compound. I'm not overly worried about my wash process on this. I'm more worried about clay barring and making sure I get the paint in a lot better spot to be able to polish it. So round 2 of iron decon on the outside. This is probably a little bit excessive. I just got a lot of stone chips and different things, and last time, you know, I used an iron remover. It removed a lot of contaminants off the paint, but I can still feel quite a bit. I just really want to get the surface really nice before I clay bar it and remove some of the deeper stuff. I just think there's a lot of surface contaminants. I do have my Meguiar's wheel cleaner still. However, I'm going to try it with heavy duty wheel cleaner. I believe this still has the same properties that breaks down iron and brake dust and turns it purple. So this wheel cleaner, I haven't been overly impressed with. It's like 20 bucks. And you know, I was using this on my wheels just to see if it could take some of the harder stuff off of there, because this is just like caked, and I've gone over these and over these. I'm actually I think I'm gonna take an acid wheel cleaner to those, just because I can't get them clean. I've tried several things. So anyways, I'm gonna use this, see how well it works on the paint. Once again, guys, be cautious using a wheel cleaner on your paint. I'm not liable if you guys have issues, but I've been doing this for a while. So anyways, I'm just gonna spray this on and see if it can do exactly what Meguiar's does. It kind of has the same properties of being really gel-like and just kind of sticking on the paint. But I'm just gonna try it on this hood first and just see what it does. Because I have a feeling from the last time I did this, there's still quite a bit on here. And if you have a car that's 20 years old and it's never had this done, paint correction. See, look how much it's already still pulling off of it. It's pulling a lot off of there. As you guys can see, even just after just a quick minute of doing this, it is pulling a lot off of there. So I'm gonna keep going around the car. And yeah, doing the same thing that Meguiar's did. I like how it's staying on the paint. This actually is doing really well. And I'm also curious to see if the second round of iron remover will take the remaining things off of there. Check this out, guys. This is after doing it a second time. Just goes to show you guys how dirty paint can get over time. And clay bar, you could argue would remove a lot of it, but look how much like rust remover I was using on that, and look how much it's still pulling from there, which is crazy. I don't know, I may have found a product I like better than Meguiar's for removing iron off of cars. Sure, you can buy your traditional iron remover, but you see how this isn't like moving? It's just like stuck on there like gel, and I like it because it sticks to the panel longer, but I mean, it's pulling quite a bit off of there. I don't know, might have found a new product that I like better. It's really expensive though, that's my only thing. It's like 20 bucks for that bottle, where the Meguiar's is about 10 to 15 bucks, but sure, you could use your traditional iron mover. I've used them, I've used Adams, I've used some other ones. I've used, I think, Iron Decon. I can't remember the different brands, but at the end of the day, I like more of a gel that kind of sticks onto the car. And yeah, this is crazy how much this has been able to pull off of here. Now it is time to clay bar the car. And guys, if you've never clay barred a car, easiest thing possible. Super simple. You saw in a previous video or in this video, me removing iron and different particles on the paint. What the clay bar is intended to do is it's intended to get a lot of the contaminants that's deep kind of embedded into the paint. And so that's what we're gonna be doing in this video. Any clay bar works just fine. When you are clay barring, you obviously wanna do one section at a time, and then you wanna fold it over because a lot of those contaminants are still sitting on the outside. So you just kind of fold it over before you go to the next section. So you can see here, you know, that's a spot where it definitely had some stuff pulled from it. So always wanna make sure you're operating on a clean side. You wanna make sure your car is lubricated. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. You can do this with a detailer. Sometimes there's clay lube. I've seen some people do it with soap and water. You just need the surface to be slick because this isn't gonna go along your paint very well. If you wanna determine how kind of rough your paint is, you can take like a Ziploc bag, put your hand inside of it and kind of slide it across the paint, and you'll see where it kind of catches and it sticks. Like here, not sure if you can hear that, where it's almost like sandpaper. It definitely needs more than just an iron remover on the surface, which is why we're gonna clay bar. So guys, easiest thing to do, all you're gonna do, just do one section at a time. And you know, I'm gonna use Griot's Speed Shine for this, and probably a detailer because I'm probably gonna run out of this. But at the end of the day, I am just gonna do one panel at a time, and with a clay bar, you're just gonna go down one way and then across another way. You don't have to put a ton of force, but just make sure that you're kind of gliding it back and forth in a kind of a cross patch pattern. As I'm kind of clay barring, you know, I'm paying attention to a couple things. I'm paying attention to the sound that it's making on the panel. You know, is it still making like a really kind of loud sandpaper sound? Is it kind of stopping as I'm going back and forth on it? So if it's doing those things, I still work on that area for a while. Now, if it glides really smooth over certain parts, then I definitely don't keep going over that section. I still make sure I get my coverage, but like down here, it's really good. But as I get up here, where it's higher, you can hear it in the paint. So all I'm doing is just kind of going one way, just kind of horizontally across the panel. And now I'm going to flip over, find a new kind of clean area on my clay, and we are going to do kind of a vertical. And you might have to spray more lubricant on the panel too, just depending on how much you have on there. And also the sound also might just be the paint quality on there. The clear might just be gone, which is also very possible. So you have to do a lot of pressure. Just be consistent, make sure that you're going over all of the panels. And see right there, I can kind of tell that I've ran out of a little bit of lubrication. So I'm just gonna go over the panel one more time. That's gliding a lot better. And also that sound also could be that you have something in your clay bar. You could have like a little contaminant in your clay bar, a little pebble, something, and then you might just be marring up your paint worse. So it's important to, check your clay bar, make sure that you're finding a new side each time that you do it. That way you are always using it on a fresh piece. And there's a lot of different clay bars you can get out there. This is just the cheapest one I found. I'm not a big Chemical Guys fan of very many of their products, but my understanding is when it comes to clay bars, it's kind of a clay bar. All right, so that I just wanted to show you guys kind of how I did that section. Obviously, I've gone over this several times. I've gone multiple ways on the panel, and at that point, that's about the best that I can get that panel to be. And another thing when it comes to clay barring, you actually can do your windows too. You actually get stuff on your windows. And so the whole goal of just kind of removing a lot of the contaminants, and so when we go to polish it, when we go to protect the paint, the product will just adhere really well. And if you haven't done this to your windows, I highly recommend it. As you clean your windows and maybe put like a sealant on there or a ceramic on there, the water will just bead right off of these. So yeah, just if you're doing all the work, might as well do the windows too. There's still stuff that gets etched into glass and different things. And so obviously make sure that you're working with a clean clay bar or clean side of the clay bar. You don't want to mar up your glass. You don't want to make it worse. But if you're doing all this work, don't skip your windows. Do your windows too. And you will be happy that you did, because my whole goal of detailing cars is getting them as clean as I possibly can, and also using products that make it so I don't have to always just be absolutely washing, taking care of them, products that last, products that shine, products that stay on there, just to make it really easy to maintain your car moving forward. Because you've put in all that work, you've definitely spent more time than the average person, outside of just washing your car, that you want your car to stay clean for as long as it can. And you want products that help repel water, repel dirt. Just make sure that when you do go to wash it, it doesn't take much time and you can just maintain it. And it's fun, it's easy. Yes, you put in a lot of work, but you also get a lot out of it. And guys, one thing to know, I didn't touch on this, but the car's done, but make sure that your car is washed before you clay bar it. You want to wash your car before you clay bar it. Now, after I've clay barred it, you should do an isopropyl kind of alcohol rub just to remove anything else off of the paint. So clean it before you clay bar it, clean it after you clay bar it, buff it, polish it, clean it again, and then you can apply your favorite ceramic, sealant, whatever you guys want to use on the car. So overall, that's pretty much it. This thing had a lot on it. I might go over some areas a little bit more, but at the end of the day, I have gotten as much off of the paint as I possibly can. Shocked me how much stuff came off of here. So now I'm gonna wipe it down, I'm gonna clean it, and then whenever I do decide to do the compound and polish, which should probably be this weekend, I'll probably wash it again, just so it's really clean, and then I'll do a two-step. I'll do compound and then a polish. But anyways, that is kind of my just quick tutorial on clay barring a car. All right, today is the day we are gonna start using compound and polish on this car and get this paint looking a lot better. One thing I'm gonna do, because obviously we clay barred, I'm going to use Turtle Wax Max Power Wash. I actually like this stuff because you can change the pH balance based on how many ounces you put into this. So I'm gonna probably I'd say aggressive, about 6 ounces, just to remove anything on the car, just so the paint is clean, clear, before I start going over it with compound. And yes, I know I'm supposed to start at the top of the car. I literally washed this car like twice this week, so it's clean. It's just been sitting here.